Welcome to episode 21 of Ketchup with Max and Jose. We're old enough to drink, but Jamie is not.
Dang it. Not yet, buddy. Soon. Get off the thing.
So embarrassing, buddy.
Oh, man.
Hop down. So what are we talking about today?
All right. So for today, I wanted to start with the history portion of Ketchup with Max and Jose, which is just some recent episodes with Escoffier and Fanny Farmer.
Fanny Farmer. Yeah.
Before we start,
Big things.
Fanny. Is that a real name? Or is that short for something?
I don't know. I think it was a real thing. It was a name, a popular name actually at that time period in the U.S. But it's always been kind of a bad word in England.
Oh, so. It's a bad word. I just thought it meant like butt. So I'm like,
Here it can mean butt. There it tends to mean the other side. Yeah.
The more you know.
The more you know.
So as far as what the episodes did on the channel, it's like they performed okay. It's kind of middle of the road.
Yeah, I knew that would happen because the later we go in history,
or the more modern, right?
Yeah. Like the more modern ones tend to not do as well. That's fine. Next week we're getting back to ancient Egypt, so hopefully that'll...
Yeah, I like the idea of diversifying your portfolio and, having a little bit of everything. I mean...
I like to bounce around. Plus, it's like if I just did ancient Rome and Greece and stuff...
Which is what people keep asking for.
That's what people want.
It's like people...
I'd run out of stuff. There's a fairly limited amount of stuff and stuff to talk about because it's not just the dish that I make, it's also like the history and stuff. I like bouncing around. I like it all. Covering it all.
But anyway, so let's start with the one that we actually did first, and that was Escoffier.
Escoffier. Augustus Escoffier.
Why'd you choose that one?
I think it was because I had a hankering for peaches, and so I looked at peach melba, and he had done the peach melba, and I was like, I wonder if he's interesting. And he is. Very, very interesting. Obviously had a huge, influence on the kitchen, the modern restaurant and everything. But my favorite part was the stories of his embezzling and getting fired from the Savoy. I thought that was so interesting.
We're all people.
Because he's like held up on a pedestal. And it's like, nobody's perfect.
Nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
Especially not us.
Well.
Especially not me. Sorry.
There we go.
Especially not Jaime. Where'd he go?
Jaime is.
Okay. Well, he's fed, so he's being
he's a little more docile. There he is on the ground.
On his perfect behavior. So also, I'm looking at myself in the little camera. I can see we're actually decked out in our tropical shirts.
I know.
Getting ready for
I'm ready for Hawaii.
Locking in the ball and chain over here.
We were just, I was just kind of booking the last minute dinners and stuff like that. Mama's Fish House, sadly, in Maui is already booked up. Couldn't get a table.
Which is surprising because Hawaii doesn't actually want us there. For the governor. I do feel
we
like
don't want you there, but we're booked up.
Well, it's because they are booked up. Yeah, there are a lot of people going there, so it's it's kind of to our detriment because they're getting so many tourists there. I'm just worried that there's gonna be like another big lockdown because they limited the number of indoor and outdoor people. So we're kind of at the cusp of the number of attendees for outdoors. So that we shall see. We just 6 more weeks. Just hang in there. Wait for us. But so anything else about Escoffier that kind of stood out to you?
I mean,
because the recipe itself was pretty straightforward.
Very simple.
Ice cream, peaches,
some raspberry sauce.
Fun fact: Max actually doesn't love raspberries.
Raspberries.
And you use them quite a few times.
I do. If they have enough sugar added, they're fine. But a lot of times raspberries are like tart.
They're pretty tart.
And I don't like that tartness.
You don't like tartness. You don't really like sour things.
Right. So but in this, where it's the puree and just a ton of sugar added, then it's delicious. That's why I actually don't mind like raspberry ice cream, but I don't like raspberry sorbet because it tends to be a little bit
the more sweetness of the sugar and cream really kind of cuts it. Tartness, yeah.
Yeah.
I love both. I love sour things, like sour Skittles in the movie theaters. Like I'll be eating it and like choking on my spit from the sour, the powder, but it's delicious. I love sour things.
And I feel like I've been doing a lot of sour things lately. The lemonade.
Yeah, but it wasn't sour. I think the orange really kind of added a
Yeah. No, it wasn't sour. It was
refreshing
actually really nice.
levity
Just
to it.
Lemons in general.
Oh, and if for some reason you were not watching Drinking History, where this is actually the whole point of this bar.
Yes.
That
Episode 3 coming out this Friday.
I've been kind of complaining about that it's not a functional bar. I mean, it is a functional bar, but it's not really like, doesn't really make sense as far as
Where it is.
where
in
it
the
is,
house.
because it's in between the couch and the dining room table where I've been sitting and doing my work. So now on my Zoom meetings, you see a bar behind me that kind of popped up within the last few weeks. So I have to use like a filter or like a background because.
Well, it's not just that the bar isn't functional. Honestly, the entire condo is no longer functional because it's just so filled with filming gear and
A massive
bar and
ring light.
bottles of...
What have we become in this last year? It's
I don't know,
kind of
it's
crazy. I mean...
We're influencers.
Yeah, you are. I'm not. But you know, like this channel has grown past 30,000, which is exciting on Instagram. I've gotten quite a few of your
On
followers.
Instagram?
Yeah, on Instagram, I've gotten quite a few followers. Just because I like to post memes and a lot of Disney updates and just like all the creative and campaigns that we're working on. So there's
He's
a lot.
very, very active on Instagram.
Yeah, it's fun for me.
Like, I wonder if he actually has time to work all day because he's always posting stuff.
Wow. I'm going to edit that out. Please don't fire me. I just hit 5 years.
Oh, no! Yes, he had his 5-year anniversary.
Yeah, and I lost the pin already. I can't find it.
It's around
They're
here.
tiny.
It's around here.
For those who don't work at Disney or don't know, Disney gives like a pin for the first year, 5-year, and 10-year. Or at 10-year, you start getting a plaque. And a plaque, and then like every 5 years, you get like a statue, and they kind of get bigger and bigger. So hopefully, I can get a plaque or statue. Hopefully, I won't be able to lose those if I can get there. But it's still ways to go.
Or hopefully by then they just give you cash.
Or hopefully, I can quit and you can just take care of me. I'm tired of working. I want to retire. All right, so that's Escoffier. That's it for Escoffier. Anything else to add?
I mean, go watch the episode. If you haven't watched the episode, shame.
Okay, Fanny Farmer.
Fanny Farmer. So I actually love Fanny Farmer. She was one of the first episodes that I wanted to do, and then I didn't. But the first time that I started like researching her was for the podcast that I did, Eat My Globe podcast with Simon Majumdar.
You should reach out to him again.
I know. Well, actually, we just messaged on Instagram not that long ago. So Simon Majumdar had me come onto his podcast like right when the channel blew up, basically, probably like a month after Garum.
But you didn't film right away, right? It was like a few months after.
A couple months afterward, yeah. And my job was to come up with, I think it was 5 cookbooks that had a very big influence on things
within like the last year
that are kind of forgotten. What?
Well, within the last year, because I mean, you weren't really cooking to that extent.
Just influence on cooking.
Okay.
Like,
I was like a personal.
Not personal.
Okay, Max,
like,
that's a stretch.
5 cookbooks from history that kind of get overlooked.
Yeah,
and were very important. And one of them that I added was the Fanny Farmer.
It's actually a really good podcast that he did. A good interview.
The whole pod, like not just my episode, every episode that he does, fantastic.
Yeah, you learn a lot, so check it out. Eat My Globe.
I scratched my head like a monkey.
We also have a podcast. I have not posted anything recently, and if anything, I've actually been uploading these episodes just audio only. Might be easier for some people, although I tend to be a little more visual sometimes. But we did do at least 3 podcast only recordings, so check them out. We should do more. But I kind of prefer doing these over that, but that's easier, but I have more fun doing these.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know, and people have been saying I should be putting Tasting History on as a podcast, but I feel like it's such a visual thing. It wouldn't really work as a podcast.
You know what? People always talk about your voice and how it's relaxing. People fall asleep to your voice because
I think I sound
you're
like a
so
Muppet.
boring. Oh, what? I mean, it's soothing, not boring, soothing. Your voice is soothing. It's just so interesting because when we first started dating, I was thinking it's like he has a very distinct voice.
Distinct.
That's
the word.
At some point, like I just never noticed it, and I like your sound of your voice, but especially after learning that you used to do audiobooks, and you have I've heard you kind of read, and it's very like yes, I can see how people would fall asleep to this, except for random screams of African panic grass. But anyway, so sorry, sidetracked here. Fanny Farmer.
So Fanny Farmer, yeah, no, I mean she was a remarkable woman. She had a stroke in her teens, and I mean,
Just
what?
genetic predisposition.
Yeah, I don't know what caused it. And she had them kind of throughout her life. They really came back in her later years, and but she really she should have just been a shut-in, living with her family forever. There was no reason for her to become as successful as she did. She kind of beat the odds there, but she learned how to cook. She went to school for it, and then she took over the school, and she wrote this cookbook that was kind of building on a previous cookbook, but she really standardized a lot of things. And it's one of the first cookbooks where it's like every single recipe, you can't screw it up. It's so well written. She because her big thing was like the level measure is what she's famous for, but just in general, like when I say a cup, this is what a cup is, and your oven should be like this, and this is how you whip eggs or cream or whatever. She was a teacher, and bless you.
Excuse me.
And she's a very fascinating woman.
No, I mean, it's useful just to kind of modernize, standardize everything. Standardize, that's the word.
Yeah,
because even like myself calling my own mom, it's like, hey mom, how do you make this tinga, which is like one of my favorite dishes, which is like shredded chicken and like chipotle and tomato with garlic sauce.
Delicious.
And it's always like a pinch of this, and salt to taste is like
I hate salt to taste.
I hate it. It's like because you made us dinner the other day and it was quite salty.
Too much salt. Salt to taste.
Salt to should have tasted it.
Yeah. Always taste your food as you're cooking.
Yeah.
But I was filming it, and it's hard when you're doing it. When you're filming.
That's fair. It was the thought that counted.
Yeah.
Thank you for dinner. But anyway.
I'm gonna do this edible. It was just saltier than I would ever like it.
So anything else that got left on the cutting room floor from Fanny Farmer? Was there any other recipe that stood out that maybe you were going to make besides the angel food cake?
That was the thing. There were actually a lot. The reason that I did the angel food cake, I wasn't going to do Fanny Farmer. I was going to do the history of angel food cake, and I found that one of the first recipes was in Fanny Farmer. Because the angel food cake was for our friend Shelly, whose birthday it was, and she said, "Oh, I love angel food cake." I said, "All right, I'll do an angel food cake episode." Turns out there's not a lot of history around the angel food cake. That happens so often. It's like, oh yes, this dish, and then it's like this episode will be like 30 seconds long, or at least the history portion. So that happens a lot. Although I was just not spoil it, but in an upcoming episode, I'm basically redoing something that never made it into an episode, and I found my old script, and the script was like two pages long because the history sections in my really early videos.
How long are your scripts now these days?
10 pages?
10 pages?
Yeah.
Oof.
8 to 10 pages usually.
Okay. I've actually read a few of the scripts, kind of just go through, and I haven't done it in a while because I'm pretty busy, and he's been like churning or trying to get ahead because their wedding's coming out. So Max is trying to get ahead.
And yet, I think that the quality of this next month's videos is actually quite good.
Dear viewer, let us know.
Yeah, let us know if September's videos are like, what is he doing? Was he drunk? Let me know. It's because I'm working at a furious pace.
It's that same kind of similar conversation on your Patreon happy hour that you had a few days ago from that comment from that person saying, "Hey Max, your views are dropping."
Yeah.
What's that about?
Somebody said, people just like to hurt my feelings, it seems.
You know what? He didn't come at you maliciously.
It was not malicious. But he hurt my feelings by accident, I have no doubt. Because the views are not down. Any individual video, it's like the stock market. Sometimes it goes really well and sometimes it doesn't. It's like that. But overall, the views are up. But he was just looking at like 2 videos that I knew would not do as well, the Escoffier and Fanny Farmer. He was like, Your channel is dying. Your views are down. I was like,
it's like do something about it.
Do something about it. It's like nothing you can do about it. It's like there's
more room is what he meant.
There's so little in there's so much that's out of your hands.
Yeah.
But no, I mean in the next month I've got Rome, I've got Vikings, medieval Europe, the Tudor England, and when this comes out, ancient Egypt. So
yeah. And then there's a drinking history or 2 in there.
There should be at least 2 drinking histories. So I'm working. I'm trying to be varied. Stop yelling at me.
She's doing her best.
She's doing her best.
All right, so that's it for the history portion of this episode. You may depart now if you don't want to listen to my ramblings. Now it's Jose's turn. No, wait, not you.
Oh, sorry.
I kind of need you for this segment.
Right,
sorry. Maybe at some point I'll take over the channel, but I'm just going to, as the guy said, Jose, your views are dropping. And it's like, all right. Max, get back in here. All right. So
I compliment myself and I'm like, oh, that's so sweet.
She's so humble, people. All right. Something I actually enjoyed last time, the last episode that we did, was talk about shows and movies we've been watching. Because we actually like to watch a lot of movies.
We do.
In between our repeat viewings of The Office and
It's Jaime again.
And 30 Rock and RuPaul's Drag Race and some of the anime I watch sometimes.
And embarrassingly, we just started...
One of our friends got us to finally start The Real Housewives of New York.
So we're like watching episodes from 2008. It was a very different
season
world
1.
then.
I mean, it's grainy. It's not even like high definition. It's like
still,
standard
like, flat.
definition.
Yeah,
I think it's like the 3x4.
We'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah, I think we had to pay for the next episode.
But it is kind of nice to just have something mindless on the TV after I've been reading and...
Yeah, I'm like, man, I'm glad I'm not like that. But I kind of wish I was that rich.
I don't think they are that rich. That's the thing. Like that one lady who was like living in a fancy apartment. She had a white refrigerator. It's not that fancy.
Not a white refrigerator. Not a white refrigerator. I mean, one was like buying a $5,000 dress. I'm like, my God, like
It's that Bravo money.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Bravo.
All right. So recent shows. Just for recommendations. Cruella's finally on Disney Plus. If you didn't get to watch it in theaters.
Amazing soundtrack.
Max, you saw it in theaters twice.
Twice with my parents, and they both loved it.
Yeah, and I've seen it once, and I tried to watch it again, and Max said no because he had already seen it twice.
Right.
So I'm going to watch it at some
Twice
point. But it's a good movie and a good recommendation, and it's on Disney Plus for free now. Coming up, one of the projects I'm working on is called Happier Than Ever: Love Letter to Los Angeles. It's a Billie Eilish concert. She performs her most recent album, and it's kind of front to back, just TV special or Disney Plus special. So if you're a big fan of her, check it out. It's on Disney Plus on 9/3. This one I'm excited for just because it takes place in Hawaii. It's called Doogie Kamealoha, MD.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Doogie Howser.
Yeah. So
30 years ago.
I've actually never seen the original.
Like 30 years ago.
Oh wow. Who was it? Was it Tom Hanks? No.
No, but I bet he would have been good. No, it was Neil Patrick Harris.
Was it really?
Yeah.
How young was he?
Like 15.
Wow. Okay. Well.
Looks the same. He hasn't aged.
Doogie, as they call her, she is a teenage doctor in Hawaii. So I'm like, ooh, this will get me kind of ready and excited for Hawaii. And that's going to be out on 9/8. And then real quickly, there's Lego Star Wars Terrifying Tales for the families who love Lego, Star Wars, or Halloween-related things. It's just a kind of Halloween.
Those are always fun.
Halloween
the
special.
The Christmas one was so much fun.
That one was fun. So check that one out if you haven't, or for next year. It came out on Life Day last year. And then we have Star Wars Visions, which is a collection of 9 shorts. It's not canon, but it's like in the Star Wars universe. Japanese studios did like in their own anime style. Just these different unique stories. So there's some really cool ones. My favorite one, I think it's the one, what is it called? The Duel. So check out the trailer if you haven't.
Oh.
It's really great. And of course, we're watching RuPaul's Drag Race on Paramount Plus, and that's almost over. It's been a
very long
season.
A lot of queens this year.
Who do you want to win?
What's the...
We have Ginger Minj, Eureka, Raja, or Kylie.
I think Raja.
Yeah, I'm Team Raja.
Or Ginger Minj. I'd be fine with Ginger.
I think
I know you wouldn't, but...
Yeah, no, like,
either one of them.
I would accept Ginger Minj, but I think for me, it's like she hasn't had an evolution. Like, she's the
already
same.
really
she was
good.
always really good, but I kind of want to see even more, like, the next
whereas
level.
Raja went from...
Yeah, like, this is, like, she actually had a redemption. Like, from her season being, like, bitter Betty to, like, killing it, looking great, personality. Like, maybe she got smart and realized, like, hey, I can't be a jerk. But I'm sold, so I'm Team Raja all the way, so...
Yeah.
And that's it. So,
don't be a jerk.
Is there any shows besides Death in Paradise? Because you had...
We didn't mention Death in Paradise.
Well, you mentioned Death in Paradise. Sorry, that's why I brought it up.
Death in Paradise, I've been watching that. I had watched it a while ago, and then I kind of rewatched some of the newer episodes because they got a new new inspector. And what it is, it's a BBC show about an like stuffy English detective who gets transferred to this tiny little island in the Caribbean, and he's kind of miserable, and he like still wears the same wool suit that he was wearing in London, but in the Caribbean.
In paradise?
In paradise.
A wool suit?
Because he's crazy. He's English. And he and every episode, there's a murder. It's like Midsummer Murders or all those. The Brits love their murder mysteries, and I love the Brits. So.
Well, Americans like it too, NCIS and all.
Yeah, no, it's the same. But it's just, I don't know, it's more charming. And the whole thing is, because it's on this like little island paradise, it's beautiful, and it just makes you want to
How many
move
people
there.
are on this island? There's like 20 people. It's like, well, that person
I know.
did it.
It's amazing. It's kind of like Murder, She Wrote, where it was like the entire town has been killed off multiple times.
Just bring in a new cat, or not cat.
I think that town was like a town of like 1,000, and there was a murder every week.
Oof, moving out of there.
It's a good show, though.
All right, where can people watch, what is it, Death in Paradise?
Amazon, I believe. Amazon Prime.
Did you charge extra to my account?
I think I have BritBox. Yeah.
You have BritBox? Or I have BritBox because you charged it to my account.
Moving on.
Okay. All right, so I always say this, but you know what? The episode is what the episode is. People can drop off and come back as they please. But movies we've watched recently, we watched Respect.
Mm-hmm.
The Aretha Franklin docu.
It had
film.
some storytelling issues, but the music was fantastic.
The performances great.
were all great. Worth watching.
Yeah,
and just be okay with like
the pacing's a little off.
That was a weird jump.
Yeah, the pacing was off. Or
I'm not famous. I'm totally famous. Like same scene.
Yeah, no, and they focus on weird points in the story, like weird moments that kind of really didn't add anything to it. It's like a little editing would have tightened this up.
Always.
But Aretha, her music's great. So.
And the singing was great.
Yeah. So Free Guy, I saw Free Guy a year ago.
Great.
And then we saw it in theaters instead of my little janky laptop with giant watermarks. That's how I watch any early release content for security reasons. But we saw it in theaters. It's a lot of fun. The movie's doing well.
Really
it's
good.
well received. If you're a gamer, great movie for you. If you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, or both, it's also a really good date movie. There's actually quite a few couples when we went to see it. Yeah, and Ryan Reynolds is just fun. He's just charming. I love him. He's my go-to. Like you have.
He's funny.
Who's your person?
Matt Damon from 20 years ago.
Oh, not current Matt Damon?
The Born Identity Matt Damon.
We'll find you a new one. Ryan Reynolds is mine, but even he's getting a little old, I guess. Like, we gotta...
Pretty sure I'm older than Ryan.
Really?
I don't know. Maybe not, but I think, yeah.
Okay. And then we got to go to the fan event for Shang-Chi. We got to see at the Chinese Theater here in Hollywood. Really good movie. Like, for the having like his own introduction to the MCU, it's actually really great action-packed. There's a lot of comedy in it,
and very different in a way. For me, it didn't feel like a typical Marvel movie.
You forgot, but
like this is interesting.
The MCU world is
good.
there. There's a lot of references to it. Some of it's a little deeper than others. Some of it's pretty superficial, and like people are like, "Oh my god, it's so and so."
Yeah.
So, but definitely check it out. It's really well reviewed. It's like 92, 94 on Rotten Tomatoes, and we're actually gonna go see it again for opening night because I really enjoyed it. Also, Max sat with a person that talked a lot during the movie, so don't be that person.
Don't be that person.
All right, and then these are real quick spooky ones that I've been watching. I've been on a scary movie binge, and Max does not watch scary movies because he's a big chicken. He hates them. He gets nightmares, and then he hates me for making him watch them. But I do get one every year, and this year I've chosen Orphan, which is not terribly scary.
That sounds scary.
It's not. It's a thriller. It's a thriller. You'll like it. You were able to watch Us and Get Out, so I think you can watch this one. And it's dated. All right, so 13 Ghosts, rewatched it. Does not hold up. Great stage design. Not scary at all.
It was terrible.
It was scary when I watched it when I was like 10. It was not good anymore. The Taking of Deborah Logan. It's on Amazon Prime. It's pretty good. I don't like found footage films too often, but it's a mix of it, and I think it's pretty good. Yeah.
Plus, Deborah is not a very scary name.
The title's terrible, but the movie itself is pretty all right. And then I went to see Candyman without Max because Max, again, is a chicken. Oh, hi, Jamie. Jamie does not like scary movies either. And Jamie's at the bar.
Ready for my close-up, Mr. Jamie.
Candyman. It was actually pretty good.
Ready.
I think it's a little light on scares, but it's well written and well presented. And the director, I believe, Nia, she's also doing the Marvels in the next year or so whenever that releases. So that will be interesting. And then Halloween in general. That's coming up. Do you have anything Halloween-y?
Nope. I mean, yes, but I don't know what they are exactly.
Oh, you don't know yet?
I have two things, but I don't want to give anything away.
All right. Well, I have the plushie set up, so I'm ready to go when you are.
Because I haven't, until I lock them in and like have written the script, I don't like to mention it. Because the episode that's supposed to happen next week is not happening, so it happens a lot.
But here's the thing, like sometimes you post on socials like you're working on something and it's just like...
But until I'm way down the line, I won't post about it.
He doesn't want to commit.
I'll post like once I'm already cooking it, but if I'm cooking it, then the script has been written, I've done all the research and everything like that. Because usually when things fall apart is during the research phase.
Okay. All right, well... Anyway, I'm still looking for scary movies as we move into September and then October. Up on my radar are Malignant from James Wan. He did the Saw series and he's done Insidious and all that. And then Antlers, which is a Searchlight movie, which you almost had to watch.
Almost.
before that. And then Halloween Kills, which is a sequel to the Halloween movie from like a year or two ago, direct sequel. I'm really excited for it.
Wait, is that the Halloween movie with the kid with the pumpkin head?
No, that's Trick or Treat. I think.
That was silly. I like that movie.
Yeah, we would watch that one again, but that one's a little.
Wasn't actually scary.
Yeah, it was not scary. It was very Goosebumps, R.L. Stein, like.
Oh, what was the scary show that I actually ended up liking? It was 3 movies.
Oh, Fear Street.
Fear Street
on Netflix.
Granted, it's probably made for a younger crowd.
It's like a teenager.
But I didn't think it was. Like I was entertained.
Yeah, and the different.
They go back to the 17th century, like. It's not Salem, but it's a quasi like Salem.
I think it was 1666 though, but kind of that era.
So,
yeah.
17th.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I'd recommend it.
Kind of violent. I mean, that's what
that's the point. It wasn't scary, but it was violent. I know. All right, so I would ask if you would leave me recommendations for scary movies. I do like good scary movies, but I will always partake in a bad scary movie because. You know, you can laugh at it and be like, oh, that was dumb.
What I'm looking forward to is every Halloween, I eat an entire Red Baron pizza. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yes. And the one Halloween movie I cannot make you watch ever again is The Strangers, because house invasions are scary.
I don't even like you talking about
Oh, my God. All right. Well, with that, thank you so much. Jamie, say goodbye to your friends and followers. Nope, he's focused on something. All right, thank you for watching, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.